Look around. What do you see? Men scrolling endlessly on phones, their spines bent, their minds dulled. Men terrified of confrontation, yet loud behind screens. Men chasing comfort, hiding from risk, medicating their emptiness with porn, food, video games, and shallow validation. This is not strength. This is weakness. And it's everywhere. We live in an age of abundance, more comfort, more convenience, more distraction than any generation before us. Yet men are collapsing. Softer bodies, softer wills, softer minds. And the worst part, most don't even see it. They think weakness is normal. They think dependence is fine. They think scrolling for hours, living paycheck to paycheck, obeying every urge and craving is just life. But that's not life. That's decay, dressed up as living. Here's the brutal truth. Weakness isn't an accident. It's an epidemic. And it's engineered. Your ancestors didn't have the luxury of weakness. Their lives depended on resilience. They fought, hunted, built, bled. A single mistake could mean starvation, death, extinction. But you? You can live an entire life without ever testing yourself. You can avoid pain, avoid struggle, avoid challenge, and society will applaud you for it. That's why so many men are weak. Not because they were born soft, but because they choose soft, again and again. Weak men refuse confrontation. They'd rather keep the peace, even if it means being disrespected. Weak men run from responsibility. They'd rather point fingers, blame systems, or complain online than face themselves. Weak men drown in escapism. Hours of porn, drugs, alcohol, games, all to hide from the brutal fact that they've wasted their potential. And here's the sting. Weakness feels good. It's seductive. Comfort lulls you into believing you're safe, that you've earned rest, that life is fine. But comfort is a drug, and like any drug, it rots you slowly until nothing is left. The epidemic is visible everywhere. You can see it in men afraid to speak truth, in men who fold under pressure, in men who abandon their children, in men who worship women, money, or status because they have no backbone of their own. Weakness isn't harmless. It's contagious. A weak man raises weaker sons. A weak man corrupts his community. A weak man becomes prey to stronger men, to systems designed to exploit him, to women who lose respect for him. Weakness spreads rot, and most men will never escape it. Because weakness is easy, it asks for nothing. It demands no sacrifice. It gives you the illusion of life while slowly stealing the real thing. That's why men stay weak. That's why entire generations are collapsing into softness. The cruel truth is this. Weakness isn't just a personal flaw. It's a prison. And most men not only lock themselves inside, they throw away the key. This is the epidemic of weak men. And until you see it, until you admit it, you'll stay part of it. For most of human history, weakness wasn't an option. It was death. Your ancestors didn't have alarms to wake them up, grocery stores to feed them, or welfare systems to catch them when they failed. Their alarm clock was the sound of predators moving in the dark. Their grocery store was the hunt. Their safety net was their own strength, or nothing. If you were weak, you starved. If you hesitated, you froze. If you feared risk, you were conquered. The world was brutal, and survival belonged only to the strong. Think of the Spartans. Boys torn from their mothers at 7, forced into the agog, a crucible of hunger, pain, and discipline. They were taught not just to fight, but to endure to embrace hardship until strength was their only language. Weakness was not tolerated. It was purged. Think of the samurai, warriors bound by Bushido, trained from childhood to face death with composure. Their lives were forged in discipline, ritual, and mastery. A weak samurai wasn't just useless, he was dishonorable. Think of tribal initiations across Africa, South America, and beyond. Boys weren't considered men until they bled, hunted, endured, and proved themselves. Weakness was shame. Strength was survival. This was the ancient standard. Now compare it to today. A man can live to 80 without ever being tested. He can eat junk every day, scroll for hours, complain endlessly, and still survive. Society cushions him from the consequences that once wiped men out. And yet, he wonders why he feels empty, why he feels restless, unfulfilled, unseen. The answer is simple. His biology still craves the tests his ancestors faced. His soul still hungers for the crucible of survival. But instead of proving himself, he numbs himself. Here's the cruel contrast. Your ancestors had to be strong. You get to be weak. And most men choose weakness because modern life lets them. They trade danger for safety, discipline for comfort, growth for indulgence. And in doing so, they kill the very thing that made their ancestors men. Weakness may not kill you today, but it robs you just as surely. It robs you of respect, vitality, purpose, and pride. It leaves you alive, but not truly living. The ancient standard was clear: strength or death. The modern standard: comfort or rot. And men wonder why they feel hollow. Weak men don't appear by chance. They are produced, manufactured, engineered. Modern society has perfected the art of softening men, not by chains and whips, but by comfort and distraction. The machinery is invisible, but its results are everywhere. Start with convenience. Every struggle your ancestors faced is now one tap away from being avoided. Food delivered to your door. Entertainment streamed instantly. Climate-controlled rooms shielding you from heat or cold. Machines lifting every burden. Men don't need strength, so they never build it. Then comes education. Schools designed not to toughen boys, but to tame them. Sit still. Don't fight. Don't compete. Don't take risks. Conform. Memorize. Obey. The raw aggression of boyhood, the seed of strength, is medicated, disciplined, and shamed into silence. Then comes work. Instead of building, hunting, or leading, most men spend decades under fluorescent lights, typing on keyboards, their bodies softening, their spirits numbing. Modern jobs don't forge strength, they drain it. And layered over all of this is addiction. Porn, fast food, alcohol, video games, social media, an endless buffet of instant gratification. Each one is a trap designed to hijack your dopamine, to give you the illusion of pleasure while stealing your willpower. These aren't accidents. They're engineered systems, built to keep you consuming, docile, and dependent. Weakness isn't just tolerated, it's profitable. A weak man buys more: comfort food, status symbols, distractions to fill the void. A weak man obeys more: governments, corporations, movements. A weak man questions nothing, because questioning requires strength, and so the machinery keeps turning. Culture praises sensitivity, but mocks discipline. Media glorifies indulgence, but sneers at restraint. Schools reward compliance, not courage. Technology offers distraction, not depth. Everything conspires to make men weaker, and to keep them that way. Most men never notice. They believe they're choosing freely. They think they want the porn, the games, the fast food, the comfort. They don't see the machinery pulling the strings. They don't see that every indulgence costs them strength. Here's the cruel truth. Society doesn't care if you're weak. In fact, it prefers it. Because weak men don't resist. Weak men don't build. Weak men don't lead. Weak men consume and then collapse quietly. Weakness today is not natural. It's manufactured, and the factory runs 24/7. Here's the most uncomfortable truth. Men stay weak because they want to, not consciously. No man says, "I want to be soft, dependent, powerless." But unconsciously, they choose weakness again and again because weakness feels good. Weakness is the path of escape. Escape from pain. Escape from risk. Escape from responsibility. You feel stress, you reach for a drink. You feel lonely, you reach for porn. You feel restless. You reach for a game, a show, a screen. In that moment, weakness whispers, "Don't fight. Don't confront. Don't push yourself. Just relax." And men listen, because it's easier. Pain builds strength, but pain terrifies men. So they trade the fire of growth for the comfort of escape. Discipline demands sacrifice, but sacrifice feels unfair. So they choose indulgence instead. Confrontation requires courage, but courage risks rejection. So they stay silent. Weakness is addictive because it offers instant relief. A shot of dopamine now, while silently stealing your power later. It's like a drug. Easy, numbing, and destructive. And here's the sting. Most men know it. Deep down, they know the porn is rotting their drive. The junk food is killing their energy. The endless scrolling is wasting their life. But they keep choosing it because weakness has one more trick. It convinces men they have time. "I'll fix it tomorrow. I'll start next week. I'll get serious when I really need to." But tomorrow never comes, and the man who chooses escape every day eventually wakes up trapped in a life he never wanted, too weak to change it. This is the psychology of weakness. It's not just external systems making men soft. It's men colluding with their own destruction, choosing ease over struggle, choosing pleasure over purpose, choosing comfort over growth. Weakness isn't imposed. Weakness is invited. And until a man admits he is choosing it, he will never escape it. Weakness always presents itself as harmless. What's the big deal? It's just one more drink, one more hour of scrolling, one more day of staying quiet. But weakness is never neutral. It eats everything. First, weakness eats respect. Women do not respect weak men. They may pity them, use them, or tolerate them, but they do not respect them. And without respect, attraction dies. Relationships collapse. Families fracture. The weak man loses not just love, but loyalty. Peers don't respect weak men either. A weak man may avoid confrontation, but he also avoids influence. He has no voice, no weight, no authority. He becomes invisible, dismissed in silence. Weakness strips a man of standing until he's reduced to a shadow in every room he enters. Second, weakness eats freedom. Strong men build options. Weak men depend on systems, employers, partners, addictions. Dependency means vulnerability. The weak man cannot walk away, cannot say no, cannot stand alone. He is chained, not by iron, but by his own lack of strength. Third, weakness eats potential. Every time a man chooses comfort, he kills a future self. The business never started. The body never built. The risks never taken. Weakness steals decades, leaving only regret. A lifetime wasted not in catastrophe, but in small daily surrenders. And finally, weakness eats the soul. The weak man knows. He knows he's not living at his full measure. He feels the rot. He sees the opportunities slip away. He senses the contempt in others' eyes, and worse, in his own. The punishment of weakness isn't only external, it's internal corrosion, a slow death by self-betrayal. This is the cost of weakness: respect lost, freedom stolen, potential wasted, soul corroded. And yet most men keep paying it, day after day, telling themselves it's fine, until one day they realize their account is empty. Their time is gone. Their life has been eaten by weakness. The cruel truth is this: weakness doesn't just make you less of a man. It takes everything that makes life worth living. Not every man stays weak. A few refuse, a few rise. What separates them? Not luck, not genetics, not privilege. One thing: they embrace hardship instead of fleeing it. Look at history. Every great man was forged in fire. Spartacus, a slave who chose rebellion over submission. Theodore Roosevelt, frail and sickly as a boy, who built himself into steel through sheer discipline. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who could have drowned in luxury, but instead chose philosophy, restraint, and duty. What unites them is the refusal to hide. Where most men escape, they confront. Where most men soften, they harden. Where most men crumble, they endure. The few who rise understand a simple law. Strength is not inherited. It is earned. You don't stumble into power. You build it through discipline, confrontation, and suffering. You don't find yourself. You forge yourself. Every rep in the gym, every hour of study, every confrontation faced instead of avoided. Each one is a brick in the wall of strength. And here's the sting: nothing external guarantees it. Not marriage, not wealth, not status. Weak men with power still collapse. Weak men with money still waste it. Weak men with women still lose them. Strength is not about what you have. It's about what you are. That's why so few rise. Because most men want the appearance of strength without the cost. They want muscles without sweat, respect without risk, wisdom without sacrifice. But strength demands all three. The men who rise are not the ones who avoid pain. They are the ones who hunt it. They seek out the cold, the silence, the rejection, the danger, not because it feels good, but because it forges them into something more. Strength is never given. It is taken. That's why the few stand out like fire in the dark. They refuse weakness, and in doing so, they remind every other man of what's possible and what's missing. Every man says he wants strength. Few ever walk the road. Why? Because the path to strength is paved with pain, and most men will do anything to avoid it. But if you're done being weak, here is the truth. The path is simple, but it is not easy. First, discipline. Strength is not built in inspiration, but in repetition. Get up when you don't feel like it. Train when you're tired. Study when you'd rather scroll. Discipline is the hammer that shapes you, and without it, nothing else matters. Second, confrontation. Stop hiding. Face the conversations you avoid, the risks you fear, the responsibilities you keep postponing. Weakness hides, strength faces. Every confrontation you escape grows your weakness. Every confrontation you face grows your power. Third, solitude. Weak men cannot be alone. They need noise, distraction, validation. But solitude is the forge of clarity. Sit in silence. Wrestle with your thoughts. Build independence from external validation. A man who cannot stand alone will never stand strong. Fourth, rejection of comfort. Comfort is the drug that keeps men weak. Learn to cut it. Cold showers, hard training, fasting, long work. Choose pain deliberately so you're not destroyed by it accidentally. The man who leans into discomfort becomes unbreakable when life tests him. Fifth, responsibility. Strength is not just about the body or the will. It's about carrying weight for yourself, for others. Own your failures. Lead where others follow. Protect where others abandon. Responsibility is the proof of manhood, and weakness flees from it. Do these things, and you won't just grow stronger, you'll transform. Not overnight, not without scars, but slowly, relentlessly, until you wake up one day and realize the softness is gone, replaced by something harder, sharper, unshakable. Because here's the brutal truth. The man who chooses pain over comfort, discipline over indulgence, solitude over noise, responsibility over escape, that man becomes untouchable. Weakness cannot tempt him. Comfort cannot soften him. Systems cannot control him. He becomes the rarest thing in this age, a man who cannot be broken. Most men will rot quietly. The few will rise loudly. The question is simple, and it will define your entire existence. Which one are you? Like, share, subscribe.